Hey, Ravenlay77 here. I got my glasses and a hair mess. It's a total disaster. I don't even know why I had to take the clip out in the first place. Up here. He wants to stomp on my keyboard, make everything mess up, don't you? Is it gentle baby? Yes, fine. If you music. I guess the cat's tired of me now, so I'll just put you back there. Oh, I'm gonna hate myself for that. And I'll need allergy pills, and I don't want that. I don't like this music. Alright, this is some dubstep hybrid stuff. We'll see what it is. But anyway, yeah, so, anyway, Ravenlay77, I'm here. So the eyeglass guy, he was like, I found out, okay, why my eyes water so badly. And even when I'm not having allergies. And he's like, he gave me a pamphlet that had an eye on it, of course, naturally, at the optometrist. That's bad, yeah. And he's slowly drawing in the corners and saying, we have ducts here and here that release this oil that lubricates. And I'm like, why don't you just blurt it out? It's my eye makeup. But he eventually said it, and it took him about probably 10 minutes to finally say, I think your eyeshadow is doing it. And I'm like, it's not even eyeshadow, it's eyeliner. But you know, you're a guy, so okay. So dwelling on things, I wrote it down earlier. I have this whole little thing right now. You know, I never go by it. I hope that I go by this, but if he leads me somewhere else, he does. I don't know. But dwelling on things like, okay, for instance, I used to dwell on bad situations in my life, a lot of them, and I would just go and go and go and feel sorry for myself and be angry and resentful. And then it was like, you know, now I've learned you can take all that crap that you went through in life, and instead of dwelling over it like I did and thinking about it over and over and imagining punching somebody out and all this stuff, you know, it's like, now it's more of a, I realized that it was a lesson learned in whatever experience I had, because I can relate to people who have been in those situations, and where I know something good can come out of it. I want to reach out and let somebody else know that something good can come out of their experience as well. And that's always the lessons you've learned. And then being able to help somebody by outreach and lending that hand of hope, you know, to people. Hope in that they're not alone, because we all at some point in our life feel alone, and it's a very horrible feeling. And you know, if you're, I don't even know where I was going with it. Why was I talking about being alone? Because like we've all been there, right? And it just takes one person to say something or do something kind, and it can completely change you. It can change your direction in life. It can change so many things for the better. So the abuse, these situations that I got myself into at times, and you know, other stuff. We need that music back. Sorry. We need that cinematic music. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so it took, what was I saying? Oh, I hate having to backtrack. And I'm not backtracking. What I was saying was being alone sucks, and it's nice to have somebody reach out and lead you in the right direction with it, so that that person can help somebody else who can maybe help 5 people, who can maybe help, and you never know. And, if they reject you, you just walk away. But you can try. And you can give it a good shot. You don't have to be perfect at it, but you can give it a good shot. And if you give it a good go and you did and you're good with God and He's good with you with it, and you'll know because you'll have that feeling, that discernment feeling. You'll know right from wrong, and you'll know that you are doing that. Like I care. This desk it's got crap all over it. I've been moving stuff around, kind of. But anyway, yeah, so I get sidetracked.
Right, so anyway, I looked back a little bit, okay, just to get my story straight. And yeah, if you do something kind, you're doing something kind. Okay, you're not stupid. If you're doing something wrong, we get that feeling. Sometimes you ignore it. I mean, most of the time we do. But you know if you're doing the good or the bad. You know what you're doing. And whether you acknowledge it or not is up to you. Okay? But we can move forward and change direction in life, or we can be miserable and dwell. You can save people. You can save people, and you grow in faith. And when faith is taught, it's a very, very good thing. Our Father God in heaven is like incredibly cool, and he's just amazing in the gifts that He gives us, as terrible as we are. And He's so merciful. And if you can like accept Him and accept His sacrifice to you, of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, then you can move forward, and you can move forward in a very positive direction. And I said, if blah blah blah, if you did it and it was good, and it led somebody else to God too, and it led them to a better life, and in general, and it doesn't have to be riches and all this superficial crap. If you lead them on a good path, spiritually and emotionally, and they know they're not alone anymore, here on earth, or any other time, because when you don't realize that you are being carried, we're just born into this, all of this. I think I talked about in the last video: radiation, chemicals, chemtrails, everything. So yeah, just work on your faith and work on trying to be kind to people and move forward. Because, and I mean, I have my issues, but I'm really trying to dissociate a bit so that I can move forward on some things. Other things that were terrible are completely forgiven. I actually feel empathy for the person who did it. They're past now, so I pray for this person's soul, but it's a whole different way. It's a whole different perspective. And yeah, you can reprogram your own mind. That's another thing we need to talk about. Let's talk about independent
So you've
thinking.
got to think independently, and that means getting within your own soul, not going with what you hear, but with what you know for fact, because you saw it, and it goes that way with visions, it goes that way with sight, eyesight, visual, here and there. You've got to think for yourself. You've got to get in there and pray about it. Pray about it, people. Just pray and say, please help me, and understand where you're coming from. Where are you coming from? Are you in an abusive situation? Are you just feeling completely beaten down? emotionally and feel like a dog. You know, when I was a teenager, no, this has nothing to do with my mother, okay? Everybody wants to blame my poor mom. Excuse me for this. I have a terribly large bra on. But, not that that makes any difference. But, anyway, what was okay, I'm really bad at everyone blames my mother for things that she absolutely had nothing to do with. So I just want to make that clear. She made my childhood worth it. She was a wonderful mother. I have a mother that is absolutely breathtakingly great, and she was open-minded, and she kept us open-minded, so, you know. But she had an out-of-body experience, so that's her story to tell, though. And, anyway, but back to the picture. I was 15, I believe. 15, and we went to a fireworks show, and I don't know if I've told this story before, but I went to a fireworks show with my family, and it was the 4th of July, and I was so ashamed to get out of the car. And it wasn't the kind of shame that you would imagine. It was a shame that I felt, and this is like something that if I hadn't felt it, I wouldn't understand the concept, but I felt like nobody deserved to see something as terrible looking as me, and as awful, and as ugly, and deteriorated. And it's just like the worst feeling in the world. And I had to finally force myself to get out of the car. I think that was one of the very first experiences where I realized nobody cares, because nobody even paid attention. They saw me get out of the car and then they looked away. They had their own thing going. And I started shooting off fireworks with my brother and his friend. And, yeah, you know, you're not alone. There are a lot of us that don't seem to fit in. And maybe there's a reason. You need to look at the lighter side of it, and I wouldn't even know if it was to say completely the lighter side of it, because it was bad and it happened and it shouldn't have. But what did you learn from it, and what can you do with it? What can you do positive with it? Because sitting around being negative constantly, like I was, is not a good thing. It was terrible, and I prayed. I remember sitting in a bubble bath, and I was praying, please just let me die. Please, I don't believe in suicide. I won't do it, I promise. Just please don't let me die, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, you know, just things like that. You know, people go through stuff, and you don't know who's going through it. People put on veils. I put on many veils. I don't anymore. I'm pretty much keeping it real. So, then the majority influence, which I was talking about, is when you have your own ideas, but somebody tells you differently. Somebody that you heard from somebody else to trust. And believe me, this goes on in pretty much every aspect of our lives, because we are in a great deception, and we are being deceived, and you are being controlled. And if you don't realize that, then you need to do some looking into it and watch my videos, because I'm going to be talking more about it. But anyway, what I was talking about, and I hate pausing, because like I feel like I need to talk constantly, and I hate having to pause because I'm babbling and can't figure out what I was saying. Oh, the majority. When you're dealing with your own thoughts and feelings. They're outer. They're kind of just when you're in a group or with somebody else or watching a news station or something that is very acclaimed, you tend to be misled in ways that you don't even realize. So you've got to think for yourself in this world, because there is a great deception, and even these little things that are going on in your life, you have to practice with those until you've got it down. And I mean like, alright guys, so I'm going to stop it there at because is a good word to stop it at, and give you a part 2, and maybe 3, I don't know. I'm hoping just 2. But anyway, so join me for part 2 of this discussion, and we'll get it down, right? Alright. I am Ravenlace77, and I am gone for now. And be watching.